How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlett, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today, I'm going to be bringing you a video subject that I think you guys may enjoy. So, Pokemon Sword and Shield were just revealed very recently to us, and I thought we'd take a look at some Pokemon that definitely would fit the criteria, or at least, in my opinion, would fit the criteria, and my friend's opinion, to be Mega Evolutions, or rather to have Mega Evolutions in the upcoming Pokemon Sword and Shield games. Now, do remember though, we do not have confirmations that there will be new Megas, but who knows? We did know in the past, Mitsuda has said that Mega Evolutions may return in the future, and due to the fact that Kalos is so close to this region most likely, because Kalos is based on France, and the new region of Galar is based on the UK. Those two countries, or England rather, so those two countries have had a long history, you know, the France and England have had a long history, and if anything, I think that the Kalos War that happened was between these two regions, and if that is true, then there probably is Mega Evolutions in this, region itself as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thought we'd take a look at it and talk about some Mega Evolutions that I think would be possibly showing up. So let's start with number 10. So kicking off this list is going to be a Mega made by your boy Boogie Hero over on DeviantArt. So this is a Mega Machamp. Now, Machamp is one of those Pokemon that is kind of just left behind. You don't really see much happening with it. It's always disregarded, and this design right here kind of speaks to me perfectly. Now, there of course are ways you can make this design different, add more arms maybe, and just a bunch of crazy stuff. But I think this kind of portrays what a Mega, version of it should really look like. It's turning red out of its pure rage, and look at those eyes. There are no pupils left because this thing is in rage mode. It is enraged, it's ready to destroy someone, and that's what I think it's so good about it. It's a very simple design. It isn't like over the top, ridiculous, or any of that. It's just very simple, to the point, and it just gets the point across, and I love that about it. I think if we do get a Mega Evolution, I would like it to be simple like this rather than just over the top and too crazy. I think this would just kind of like get the point across very simply and show you that it's a Mega Evolution and this thing is raging out. So that's definitely the first one. Let's get to the next one on the list, ladies and gentlemen. So coming at number 9 is going to be Mega Breloom. Now this design was made by Amazing Megas on DeviantArt as well, so do check him out. But this Mega is definitely my favorite on this list. Now, of course, do remember though, this list is not in any particular order, so do remember that. But either way though, what about this? Well, I love Breloom. Now, Breloom is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. I love this thing. It's popped up the first time in Hoenn, and I have just loved it since then. But there is one thing about Breloom that I have noticed, and that's it just doesn't get enough attention, man. It isn't loved by as many people as some other Pokemon out there, like Greninja and whatnot, but it's just a genuinely cool Pokemon. It's very, sleek, and it's just got a cool design. It's one of the best Pokemon that I can think of, and I genuinely would love it to get a Mega Evolution like this one, made by Amazing Megas here. I mean, I've talked about this, specific design before, but it just makes the Breloom look like this little badass, kung fu master just ready to destroy things. It's just truly unique, and I bloody love it. Again, a very simple design, not over the top, very much to the point. You can see like the hat is slightly larger, you've got the tail just popping up nicely, and the arms, it just looks fantastic. Either way, let's go to number 8. So coming in at the number 8 spot on this list is going to be a Pokemon that is a part of the starter group from Generation 2. Well, you get the point. So coming in here, guys, is going to be Meganium. This is a Pokemon that I think deserves this, and I think all the Generation 2 Pokemon deserve this. That's why they are taking the 8, 7, and 6 spots. And we're going to take a look at the designs mainly here, but I didn't want to include them all in a single spot because people sometimes don't enjoy that and don't really like it. But either way, let's take a look at the actual design, though. So this is the design made by Tommy Case on freaking DeviantArt. Dude, this guy is a bloody legend, and this design is sick. Of course, the first thing that you will notice is that it kind of reminds you maybe a little bit of the bud that you see on Venusaur's back. That's kind of what I feel when I see this, but I do like it though. It's very simple, very clean, just to the point, and I feel like I've said that a few too many times at this point, actually, that it's just simple and clean and all that. But genuinely though, you don't really need to do much more to Meganium though to actually make it look like a really good Pokemon. I think just being very simple about it is just good enough. Of course, maybe you could do something else here, just add something else to its back, maybe add something to its legs, like maybe some shells or something like that, or more flora down there, just more flowers and that sort of stuff would definitely work and add more to the actual design. But it really depends on the eye of the beholder. So I think this is a cool design, and I think it works. So yeah, let's just go to the number 7 spot. So coming in at number 7 is going to be for Alligator Mega Evolution. So this is also made by Tommy Case. This is part of a collection that he made of these, and I genuinely love this thing. So for Alligator was one of the first Pokemon I had when I played through Hard Gold Soul Silver for the first time. It was my first starter, and I bloody love this thing. Now this design just kind of expands upon the just kind of badassness and just humongousness of the actual for Alligator design. Now it kind of reminds me also of Swampert, but not to that level of extreme. I think Swampert was kind of overdone with the bulkiness to it. This one is kind of sleeker and way simpler, and again, I feel like I used that word way too many times. Again, I'm very sorry. I just really thought it was a cool design, and I wanted to show it to you guys. But genuinely, though, they just make it slightly more bulky in the legs, making it feel more like it's actually got like this heavy armor around its leg and whatnot, as well as arms, and also makes its head look far more thin, which is really cool, and overall, like, just makes it look like a cool design. Also, another thing that we'll notice is I like how its mouth is actually closed, because usually in art that you see for Alligator, its mouth is usually very open, and it just looks a little bit goofy. This one looks very much more like a serious Pokemon, just ready to wreak havoc in one way or another, so definitely think it's a cool one. Let's go to number 6. And finally, at the number 6 spot, we've got the final Pokemon from the Johto generation starters, and that's going to be Typhlosion, my favorite starter from the, this group, so to say, my favorite Gen 2 starter, so to say. And this design is probably the best one that we got in this group, I think, out of designs made by Tommy Case. So you will notice that this Typhlosion has changed quite a lot. First of all, the smoke coming from its back is badass. It just looks like it's just kind of this older version of Typhlosion that's just kind of gone through a bunch of shit, and also the color change on its actual body just fits perfectly. As well as the extra, flames coming out from the sides, just adds more to the design. Overall, I don't really, know what else I can say about this thing. I think it's a cool design. I thought that I want to share with you guys once again. Either way, let's go to the next Pokemon on the list. So coming in at the number 5 spot is going to be Krookodile. Now, Krookodile is a Pokemon from Generation 5, and honestly, this is a Pokemon that just doesn't get enough appreciation, and this is one of the Pokemon out of many Pokemon from Generation 5 that do not get enough appreciation, and we thought when we picked this one specifically as a, one of the Pokemon to get a Mega Evolution, that it just kind of deserves it at this point, or just generally more Generation 5 Pokemon deserve Megas, and I think Krookodile, with this design here made by Fatmon, would be fantastic. I mean, this thing looks like a pure crook. I mean, even the name, like, sounds like it's a crook. Like, come on. And this design, you can see here, you've got, like, literal handcuffs on this bad boy because he's about to wreak havoc. His eyes are just gleaming with pure rage, and also I love the extra, like, black patches on his body, as well as that, like, giant ass, like, freaking nose horn, or whatever you want to refer to it as. Genuinely, though, this is like a cool design. It generally, like, screams out like this, like it's an angsty teenager almost, which is probably like the weirdest thing I could say, but it's some level of edgy, which I think works for this thing, and I do wonder how it would work with the actual cuffs. Is it so strong that it needs to, like, restrain itself, to a point so it doesn't, like, wreak too much havoc, because that's the feeling I get when I see it, though. So yeah, definitely a really cool one. Let's go to the next one on the list. So coming in number 4 is going to be Aegislash, Mega Aegislash. So, boys and girls. Now, Aegislash, of course, would make the most sense with Pokemon Sword and Shield. I mean, think about it. This thing is literally a Shield Pokemon, and of course you've got, its counterpart being a bloody Sword. So I think this thing, if it was to Mega Evolve, should look like something like the design right here by Crossan on DeviantArt. Now, I think this is awesome because it gives this, thing like a bit of a Templar feeling, if that makes any sense whatsoever. It makes it feel like it's truly a Templar-type Pokemon that can just, like, just push out some punishments, if you know what I mean. Just put that hand out there and just wreak havoc with your punishments on them, filthy humans. No, but seriously though, the design is really sleek and nice. Giving Aegislash, like, this better face and, like, form of a face, and almost like a crown on top, as well as those, like, really, like, sketchy eyes, is just really freaking cool. And the shield that it holds, of course, is the same one. It looks good, as well as the, spooky, like, ghost arms being, kept there. Looks really nice. And of course, the body itself still looks like, like a bit of a shape of a sword, or like a, tabard, so to say, which is a cool concept. So definitely, like, a cool design, lovely. Do check out the designer, and let's go to the next one on the list. So coming in at number 3 is going to be Mega Snorlax. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know it has to happen eventually. Come on now. Mega Snorlax has to be a thing. And here we have a design made by Neo on DeviantArt. Neo made a bloody awesome looking Snorlax. I mean, generally, this thing looks bulky as shit. I mean, it looks like it's a mad Snorlax. And that's good, because Snorlax shouldn't stay, timid and happy. It should be angry once it Mega Evolves. It should be, about to eat you alive. levels of angry, and this thing truly speaks of that. I mean, generally, having those, like, bulky black, you know, just bars around its arms, or, like, just making its arms just bulky and, like, huge is fantastic. Also, having this, like, kind of, like, I guess this neck area be really thick as well, like the arms, gives me the feeling that this thing is it's gone up a few, you know, a few kilos for sure. Right? That's at least what it feels like. And also, I love the shift in the colors, not keeping it just the exact same color that it was before. And you know, instead of using the color of its belly like it usually is supposed to be, you take that color and you make it kind of an X form that then, you know, goes out with kind of like, you know, a little bit of like fur on the sides. It really looks amazing. Also, its legs and just feet rather look great. Overall, a really just symmetrically perfect design in my opinion. Definitely a cool one, and I do think Snorlax deserves some more love from the Pokemon Company and Game Freak. So yeah, let's go to the next one on the list. So coming in at the number 2 spot is going to be Mega Flygon. This is like the most requested Pokemon ever to get a Mega Evolution. I mean, seriously. This is one of the most requested ones, and I don't know what to say. I think it does deserve it at this point. So this was made by Lucas Costas. This is a very simple design, if anything. It just doesn't really, you know, change too much of the actual base Flygon, besides adding, you know, a little bit more to the back of its wings and whatnot. I mean, honestly, I know some people probably want more from a actual change or Mega Evolution to Flygon specifically, because, I mean, they've been wanting it for such a long time in general, that having, you know, a small amount of changes would probably be disappointing to most people. But I think this should work, though. I think this is different enough to a point where it should be satisfying enough for most of, you know, the audiences out there. Of course, there are minor changes to the wings, there are changes around the neck, the overall head shape is still the same though, and also on the legs you have these horns kind of sticking out a little bit more. Overall, a really clean and simple design. Really just speaks for itself, not much to see besides, you know, I mean, hey, changes, and that's all that you really need for Flygon. It doesn't really need to be like, you know, bigger or anything like that, you know what I mean, or just heavier and whatnot, because that's a few megas do that, but I think Flygon's meant to be, you know, more of a speedy type of Pokemon rather than, you know, be bulky and huge. So I think this change is perfect enough in my opinion. Either way, let's go to the last and final one on this list. So finally we have, ladies and gentlemen, Lapras. Now, Lapras is a Pokemon that I've wanted to see a Mega Evolution for the longest time. I think this thing just deserves it already. Lapras just doesn't get enough attention. I mean, genuinely. Also, do remember that Lapras is essentially based somewhat on the Loch Ness Monster, as well as like a dinosaur, prehistoric, you know, dinosaur and whatnot. It's, you know, kind of based on that. So, it kind of fits that this thing would get a Mega Evolution, specifically in a region like this, where it makes 100% sense for it to have a Mega Evolution, to be honest. And this design right here, I think is really cool. And this was made by Tatan RG on DeviantArt, who really put a lot of time into the concept. And I do like it though. I feel like this would be perfect, you know, with kind of the, you know, ice fairy typing to work around with. I think it would be definitely like, you know, a perfect combination here. So of course you have got the kind of like weird, like, you know, pinkish color coming through its the back of its, you know, just the back of its back, I guess, and also from the ears that it has, you can see how like they kind of flourish out there, almost like Sylveon's ears, you could say, or like the, you know, the little ribbon-looking things from Sylveon, mixing in, you know, light blue and light, you know, very light pink and whatnot, which kind of like instantly tells you that this is meant to be a fairy type. Also changing its horn and making it a little bit, you know, a little bit of light bluish as well as, you know, pinkish. Again, just shows you that exact same thing going on here. So overall, I think this is a cool design, and I do think that we deserve to see a Mega Evolution for Lapras in Generation 8, ladies and gentlemen, aka Pokemon Sword and Shield. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. If you did enjoy, then drop a like down below. My name, of course, has been Ruffle Rallet. If you did enjoy, make sure to subscribe for future videos, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.